Hi, welcome back to the River Guide series. Today we're continuing the Haw River Trail, and this section is red slide to Swepsonville River Park. You'll see the red slide rapid there at the put-in. That's the most excitement you'll have. And then from there you have a ledge there at the bridge on the left. Would be the best place to run it at normal water levels. And from there on you're pretty much in a straight shot of flat water. The total length for the trip is 5.7 miles. You can run it at virtually any water level. Even if it's super dry, you can get around that first rapid and the ledge at 54 and just pretty much have a nice paddle. Today the river is 6.3 feet on the USGS gauge, and even at that level there's nothing that will give anybody trouble. So a very relaxing run for paddlers of any skill level. Especially if you're worried about rivers, this would be a good section to try a river out on. So in this first section we'll go from Red Slide Park down to the freeway here, and we've flown over to the camera. Here I am at the put-in, sliding out. We're in slack water with no current, so what I'm going to do is nose into the current. And if the current was strong, I would lean to the right, lean downstream just a little bit so that current didn't want to grab your boat. Really wasn't a strong current, so it didn't matter, but something to keep in mind when you're pulling out of the eddy into the current. So here's the exciting part. This is Red Slide Rapid. This is the right side of the rapid, and this is the line. This may not be available to you at lower water. It'll get a little bony. So if the water's low, you need to get over to the river left and follow the channel around this little island. You can just see there the trees to that island on the left side of the screen. And you can see the water on the other side coming out. If I'm continuing through, I usually take that rapid. But it's high today, so I figure we go on the right side. Here we are crossing under the bridge at Haw River. At low flows, you'll need to be on the left side of this to get with the current. At high flows like today, no issues, you can go pretty much wherever you want to go. So you hear me talk about gauges a lot. This is one of them right here. This is the USGS gauge for the Haw River at Haw River. So they'll have several of these locations on any major river, and you'll get your stream data from these guys. They'll tell you how much rainfall, the stage of the river, and you can see a bell curve, and I'll post that video about that here shortly. And that's where you figure out how deep the river is, how fast it's running, is it rising, is it falling, what you can expect. And as you start tracking these things, you'll learn how to kind of figure out what the water's going to be doing. Here's a tree stand on the left bank. You can tell whoever built that was a really, really good hunter. I mean, just looking at that tree stand, that's probably the best hunter in Alamance County. Alright, so moving on down the river, pretty scenery. Nothing much to do but dip your paddle and keep it moving forward. And here we are at the I-40 bridge. This is I-40-85, passing over the Haw River. Got some people skipping school at the community college there on the left. You can barely see them through the pylons. But nothing really to do except don't get wrapped up in wood in these bridges. These are all cleared out by the recent floods and perhaps work of volunteers, but anytime you have a bridge, there could be a lot of wood passed. So moving down the river, more flat water. It's just a wide river, well-defined banks, pretty deep all the way through. You should never get hung up even at low water. Anytime you have a river that's just straight and flat like this, the banks are usually 8 to 10 feet tall. This is no exception, and that's for this part of the state. So what you're going to have is pretty deep river with no place to really beach your canoe or kayak anywhere. So don't expect that. If you want a good bank, you're going to need a really sharp curve in the river. Most of the time the inside curve will lend itself to a sandy bank because that's where the sediments deposit. And the next thing we're going to see is the Graham Paddle Access, which is a good place to get out if you wanted a shorter trip, or a good place to put in and you want to get the lower section. So here we are, just on the other side of the I-40/85 bridge. You can see the typical scenery coming in. Nothing much here through this stretch, so here we are at the bridge at 54. The flow is most on the left side here. So we'll just go past the pylons. Again, anywhere these pylons are, stay away from them, don't get your boat on them. And sometimes there's wood there, watch out for that. So here you are at the Graham River Access, Graham Paddle Access there. That's usually muddy because of the way the sediment stays in that low sloped ramp there. If you decide to use that, just be prepared to be muddy from about mid-shin down. Right off the bat, after the Graham Paddle Access, Back Creek will come in from the left as we pass the confluence there. Then we'll pass a rock garden. At lower flows, this is just pretty, weave your way through, won't hang you up. Keep on going, big boulder in the river on the left there, it's pretty neat. Sometimes you'll see turtles out there. In the right hand turn, another more spaced out boulder garden, I guess you would call it, with a little ledge at the end of it. Again, nothing that's going to trip anybody up. Anybody would be okay running this stretch of river. A little dog leg in the river, and then you'll make a hard left hand bank. Right after that will be Swepson Ridge. Right after Swepson Ridge, that's Swepsonville Road, you'll come to Remnant Rapid, where they removed a dam just a few years back. And I like to go right where that red track is because that's the kayak trail they put in there, the little channel. And then go to the left of that island. It'll get you from getting stuck. On the right side there, it gets very shallow at lower water. And then a gentle right-hand turn and a little half-mile stretch or so, and then you will arrive at Swepsonville River Park Takeout at the confluence of Alamance Creek and the Haw River. You're looking river left at the confluence with Back Creek just after the takeout. Moving downstream, this is what you come to expect here. Just a gentle flowing river, even at 6.3 feet on the gauge. Nothing to be afraid of. This is just a good run if you want a quick 45-minute run to an hour at the most on an average day, even at low water. You can put in there at the Graham Paddle Access and come down to the Swepsonville River Park. And I'm just going over to get my nose in this rapid because if there's a rapid on the river, I have to go through it because I'm bored, really. Pretty rapid. Here's the last bend before we come into Swepson Ledge. A couple little rapids on the left. Now on the ledge, you want to stay on the left. Traditionally, that's where you'll get through the easiest. You can kind of pick and choose wherever you want. There's no danger anywhere. But it's most channelized over here on the left side, so I usually just stick over here. And just kind of read it and run it. Find out where you got some water. And typically speaking, wherever the most amount of water is, that's where you want to be as well. Aside from other hazards that may make you want to change your mind, like all the water that flows under a tree. But hopefully you won't ever have to run into that. So here we are at the bridge at Swepsonville Road, and about where my kayak is pointing is this takeout here. This is, I guess, an alternate takeout now, because before the dam was removed, if you wanted to be safe, you had to take out there, portage around it, and put back in. So just after that takeout, you kind of want to be center right of river. You see this boulder to the right of my bow, and the trees to the left behind the water spot. Somewhere right in the middle there, that's the paddle channel that they left when they dug this dam out a few years back. And you just kind of look for where all the water's heading, and that's kind of where you want to be as well. You just kind of bop down through the current, wherever it wants to take you. And ahead of my bow is the big island and this little chain of islands. You want to go left through that channel. You can go right at high water. You can try to go right at low water, but you might end up getting out and pushing your boat a little bit because it gets very shallow there. So just follow this current. The current will pretty much go to the left. Come around the island to the left and hang it wide out to the left at low water, especially passing the beach, which you can just see off the right of my bow up ahead. We call that Swepsonville Beach. I'm passing it now. It's very shallow on the right here. And about a quarter to half mile paddle there. Far horizon, getting closer now. That's the confluence of Alamance Creek. And to the right is the takeout. I'm just kind of pointing up the creek a little bit so you can see it. That's my truck. And someone else is probably eating lunch, enjoying the park. And that's the run. That's Red Slide to Swepsonville River Park. And here's the boat ramp. And there you have it.